I'm anti-derivative Jill, and joining me on this epic journey is Tiger Stripes.
Hey.
Hello and welcome to A Journey Through Middle-earth, Book 1, Chapter 12, Flight to the Ford. Frodo wakes up, still clutching to the ring by the fire. Everyone's very happy to see him awake. They tell him they couldn't see what happened until they stumbled over it. Strider's not there because he's gone off to go find the Black Riders.
Mm. And to search for Athelas, because he realizes that this wound, it's going to change Frodo's life.
Yeah, and he knows some way to try to heal him a little bit. He doesn't have the capability to heal this completely. Like he said, he's looking for something that will help. Merry and Pippin heat some water for Strider so he can make his medicine to put on Frodo's wound. He's trying to figure out what the riders were up to and why not all 9 of them were there. I fear, Sam, that they believe your master has a deadly wound that will subdue him to their will. We shall see. Sam choked with tears. Don't despair, said Strider. You must trust me now. Your Frodo is made of sterner stuff than I had guessed. And more deadly to Frodo was this. He stooped again and lifted up a long, thin knife. There was a cold gleam in it. As Strider raised it, they saw that near the end its edge was notched, and the point was broken off. But even as he held it up in the growing light, they gazed in astonishment, for the blade seemed to melt and vanished like a smoke in the air, leaving only the hilt in Strider's hand. It was this accursed knife that gave the wound. Few now have the skill in healing. He sings a song? Is this saying that songs can be healing?
He's chanting over the dagger. I'm not clear on why. This is, I think, the 3rd time that a weapon has been destroyed, although not quite so thoroughly by magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because this one, the blade completely vanishes.
Disintegrates.
Smoke. Yes, but we've had a couple of other weapons that have shattered or broken due to magic. So
Strider applies the Athelas that he found. Athelas.
That's what I've always said, but I don't know how.
I like Athelas. And its healing powers may be small, but at least he knew about it. So it's helping.
It's also known as King's Foil.
Threw the leaves in the boiling water, and the fragrance was refreshing, and those that were unhurt felt their minds calmed and cleared. He wondered if he might be stuck this way forever, and how he would continue his journey that way.
I had a frozen shoulder once. You spend your, am I going to be like this for the rest of my life? You ask yourself.
I'm glad your shoulder healed.
I had physical therapy. They're the best. I can still do the exercises. So if you ever need them, I'm your girl.
Nice. I'll let you know if it happens. And what's the matter with my master? Asked Sam in a low voice, looking appealing at Strider. His wound was small. Frodo has been touched by the weapon of the enemy, said Strider, and there is some poison or evil at work that is beyond my skill to drive out. But do not give up hope, Sam.
Now, Strider decides they really can't be in a worse place than they are now, so they have to go.
Yes, they have to leave Weathertop, but Frodo can't walk, so everybody has to carry all the belongings, all of the provisions and everything, so that Frodo can ride on the pony. It already seemed fatter and stronger and had begun to show an affection for its new masters, especially for Sam.
Bill the pony really does rule.
Yeah, Bill the pony rules.
Such a good pony.
Yeah, such a wonderful pony.
He's in this little picture here, I believe, with Frodo on him.
Oh, I see him. There he is, right in the back. They have to go towards the wooded country to get some fuel, because they have to keep Frodo warm. So that's why they have to go south at first and cross the road.
No map I can find, including the map in my own edition, show this great loop in the east-west road. You know, cutting across this great loop of the road is supposed to shorten their journey, but I can't find a great loop in the east-west road in any map I see. Somebody really needs to put that in one of these days.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to see every little detail along the journey that they take. There was no sign of the riders, but even as they were hurrying across, they heard far away 2 cries, a cold voice calling and a cold voice answering.
It's as if the road has been bewitched to alert the riders to the company crossing it.
What tells you that?
The order that it happens almost immediately. They made their way slowly and cautiously round the southwestern slopes of the hill and came in a little while to the edge of the road. There was no sign of the riders, but even as they were hurrying across, they heard far away 2 cries. Cold voice calling and a cold voice answering. It happens that fast. I think that's what that is.
I could believe that. Frodo's pain begins to grow again, but he did not speak of it. 4 more days pass by just like this. So they're not feeling the evil presence of the riders, since, as you say, they can feel them when they are around. Then there's a 5th day. Aragorn still hasn't figured out how they're going to cross the ford of Brunion. Aragorn worries that the last bridge will be held against them, but he can't find any sign of the Black Riders.
But he also says 1 river at a time. That's a good scout.
Right. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
And he leads them back to the road. They cross again and dive into a thicket at Strider's direction, and he goes to explore and comes back with a token.
Yes, he finds a pale green jewel, an elf jewel.
It's a barrel, an elf stone, in the mud in the middle of the bridge. And he takes that as a sign that they can take the bridge, that they can pass by the bridge.
Brings hope to him, yes. It's a good sign.
Besides crossing that bridge, he doesn't want them to stay on the road. And they head north. They just keep going up and up.
Frodo guessed that they were in the same Troll's Wood where Bilbo had been before. Who lives in this land, he asked, and who built these towers? Is this troll country? No, said Strider. Trolls do not build. No one lives in this land. Men once dwelt here ages ago, but none remain now. And he tells a little history that he learned from other men and from elves. And he also has been to Rivendell. There my heart is. It is not my fate to sit in peace.
And he also hints at his lineage, that he's an heir of Elendil. And he said a little something when they were in the Prancing Pony, but he doesn't talk about it much.
Then it also explains why he has such great eyesight. It's a trait of elves, so he has a little elf in him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for Frodo. He's feeling a chill. He felt that black shapes were advancing to smother him, but when he sat up, he saw nothing but the back of Strider. And so Frodo slept. This time he's dreaming of the Shire. And in the morning, the rain stopped. Aragorn says, "We have come too far to the north, and we must find some way to turn back southwards again."
Again, this is the one that disappoints me because there's no loop. There's no great loop in the East Road the way there should be. It's a pretty good map. Yeah, Strider leads them very far north, maybe a little too far. This is the guy who never gets lost, and yet. But I know that he's very worried that they are being followed, and he's really trying to, break a trail that nobody can follow.
Yes, they find their way barred by a ridge of high land, so they have to climb over it. Frodo's just having a dream here. Oh, they had a choice between going back or climbing over it, so they decided to climb, but it was very steep. So Frodo had to get off of the pony and climb up. But fortunately, when they got to the other side, it was not as steep, so he could ride again. They stopped for the night.
But Frodo's a bit of a mess at this point, and everybody's very concerned about him.
"What is the matter with my master?" asked Sam in a low voice, looking appealingly at Strider. "His wound was small, and it is already closed. There is nothing to be seen but a cold white mark on his shoulder." "Frodo has been touched by the weapons of the enemy," said Strider, "and there is some poison or evil at work that is beyond my skill to drive out."
And the night's cold. I can feel it. They light a little fire.
Oh, yes.
Frodo lay half in a dream, imagining that endless dark wings were sweeping by above him, and that on the wings rode pursuers that sought him in all the hollows of the hills. Yeah, since he's half in a dream, it's almost a genuine vision, not even just a premonition in a dream, but a vision of what's to come for him. And Strider just realizes they can't really go climbing through mountains and hills. Whatever happens, they've got to take the road to the ford.
Yes. And Bill Ferny's old pony was developing an unexpected talent for picking out a path and for sparing its rider as many jolts as possible.
That's a grateful beast. He's just so happy to not be owned by Bill Ferny anymore. He would do anything.
He is. He's super happy. It's great. It's great to see him, but it's also kind of sad because you're imagining just how bad Bill treated the poor pony, and so
Yes.
he probably did get abused.
Starved it and beat it, and who knows.
Frodo felt better in the morning.
But there's a
Pippin
mist
was,
before his eyes.
oh yeah,
He
that's
can't quite
right.
see now.
Yeah, that's obscuring his vision. Pippin was a little ahead of the others and finds a path, and that path leads to a door.
It's in the rocky shoulder of a hill, under the face of a low cliff overhung with trees, and there's a door hanging crookedly ajar upon one great hinge.
Yes, and they go in and find old bones. Pippin says this is a troll hole. Come out, you two. Strider thinks it's not been used for a while, so you don't need to run away. And Pippin, not liking to show Strider that he was still afraid, went on ahead with Merry. But then they'd not gone very far when Pippin came running back, followed by Merry. They were both terrified. There are trolls down in the clearing in the woods not far below. Sam looks scared.
Yeah, I have a visual here, which is again another drawing by Tolkien, probably from The Hobbit, but these are
Yes.
the trolls as they were turned to stone. But that actually is by Tolkien.
I also really like that from The Hobbit, the trolls arguing about how to eat how to eat all
How
the
to cook a dwarf.
dwarves. It's a great callback.
Yes,
Get up,
it is
old
very
stone.
much. Yes, it's a nice little tip of the hat for fans of The Hobbit.
We're forgetting our family history. These must be the very three that were caught by Gandalf. Yeah, I remember them wanting to smash them or sit on them.
Pippin's really freaked out, and Strider just walks up with us. He picks up a stick and walks up and breaks it against the stone. Says, "Get up, old stone!"
It is broad daylight with the bright sun, and yet you come back trying to scare me with a tale of trolls waiting for us in the glade. One of them has an old bird's nest behind his ear, and they made a meal right under the shadow of the troll's large legs. I just love this. And this is where Mary wants a song. They haven't had one since Weathertop.
About time for another one, then.
Yeah, so Sam is going to sing his own song. This is Sam's very own song. As if he was at school, he began to sing to an old tune. Let's see, how long is this one? It's a song about a troll who finds a bone, and somebody comes by and says, "Hey, that was my uncle's. That was my uncle's shin. He needs it back." Good. "My lad," said the troll, "this bone I stole, but what be bones that lie in a hole?"
This is one of the
doesn't
poems
like
that
this.
made it into The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, the book of poetry. And in the preface, it's ascribed to Sam. Notes that it's initialed SG.
I
So
love
Sam's given credit for it.
because this is Sam's poem.
Yes, it is.
It's funny too. Little story of the troll who stole a shin bone, and now he wants to steal the nephew's shin bone too. And not just that, he'll get some fresh meat. Bit of fresh meat will go down sweet. I'll try my teeth on thee now. But just as he thought his dinner was caught, he found his hand had hold of nut. Before he could mind, Tom slipped behind and gave him the boot to learn him, warn him, darn him. A bump o' the boot on the seat, Tom thought, would be the way to learn him. Set your boot to the mountain's root, for the seat of a troll don't feel it. Peel it, peel it. The old troll laughed when he heard Tom groan, and he knew his toes could feel it. Tom's leg is game since home he came, and his bootless foot is lasting lame. But Troll don't care, and he's still there, with the bone he boned from his owner. Donor, boner. Troll's old seat is still the same, and the bone he boned from its owner. That's a lot of play on words. It's really clever and cute. And Frodo realizes it's unique to Sam. I'm learning a lot about Sam Gamgee on this journey. First, he was a conspirator. Now he's a jester. He'll end up by becoming a wizard or a warrior. And this is foreshadowing for real here.
Yes. "I hope not," said Sam. "I don't want to be neither."
And so they realized they were following the very same track that Gandalf, Bilbo, and the dwarves used before.
They even find a stone that might mark where the troll's gold was hidden, and how much where the dwarves buried it.
Bilbo said he gave all of it away, all that treasure away, because he did not feel it was really his.
As it came from robbers.
They'd look for a place to camp, and they hear hooves behind them. These hooves they hear come with the sound of bells.
I have one more picture of the trolls. It's fun because it's got a fox in it. So
Oh, yes.
and who knows what he's thinking.
Nice.
So I had to put that one up.
Having a little picnic under the trolls. That's
Yes.
fun.
But yes, the horse comes along and they hear bells, and black riders don't ring bells.
And yes, we've met Glorfindel, who dwells in the House of Elrond. Glorfindel was looking for them. In fact, lots of elves were sent out to look for Frodo.
I'm only slightly upset because he introduces himself, but he does not introduce his horse. A lot of horses in the rings are introduced. So,
right, and it just seemed like a
yes.
special horse. He says he's the one who left that token that we saw earlier, the elf token.
And he says, Elrond received news that troubled him. Some of my kindred said that the Nine were abroad, and that you were astray, bearing a great burden without guidance, for Gandalf had not returned. I think this is the first time that we've heard that the Nine are in fact 9. Strider knows how many of them there are, but certainly the hobbits and the reader do not at this point.
Right, because we're not supposed to know yet that these are the 9 men who have turned into ring wraiths.
I suppose that some people might be able to surmise that just from the poem about the rings, but I know that certainly on my first reading I didn't.
And so Sam tells Glorfindel that my master is sick and wounded, and so Glorfindel caught Frodo as he sank to the ground, and taking him gently in his arms, he looked in his face with grave anxiety. And so Strider told him about the attack on Weathertop and the knife. There are evil things written on this hilt, he said, though maybe your eyes cannot see them. Keep it, Aragorn, till we reach the House of Elrond. Be wary, and handle it as little as you may. Alas, the wounds of this weapon are beyond my skill to heal. I will do what I can. He searched the wound on Frodo's shoulder with his fingers, and his face grew graver, as if what he learned disquieted him. But Frodo felt the chill lessen in his side and arm. A little warmth creeped down from his shoulder to his hand, and the pain grew easier.
And he can see a little better, too, which, boy, that has to be a real concern.
Definitely. Nobody wants to be going blind. You shall ride my horse, says Glorfindel. Frodo has a problem with that.
I shall not ride him if I am to be carried off to Rivendell or anywhere else, leaving my friends behind in danger. Glorfindel smiled. I doubt very much if your friends would be in danger if you were not with them. The pursuit would follow you and leave us in peace, I think. It is you, Frodo, and that which you bear that brings us all in peril.
And so they kept going and going until pretty much all the hobbits were nearly asleep and stumbly. The elf really works them hard.
Oh, even Strider looks weary, and that's saying something.
This is a man who could go without sleep for a long time. Mm-hmm. They cast themselves down on the heather a few yards from the road and fell asleep immediately. They seemed hardly to close their eyes, and Glorfindel, who had set himself to watch while they slept, awoke them again. And there's many miles to go between them and the ford. They have to get to the ford and pass it, the Brunian ford.
I have a very pretty drawing here of Glorfindel and Asfaloth.
Oh, you found his name.
Norlim
What's his name
Asfaloth. Norlim Asfaloth. Again, might be mangling that.
So there at the bottom of the sharp incline, they saw before them a long flat mile, and beyond that, the ford of Rivendell. Glorfindel turned and listened, and then he sprang forward with a loud cry. Fly, he called. Fly, the enemy is upon us. And they do. And that's when the Black Riders appear. Ride, cried Glorfindel to Frodo. He did not obey at once for a strange reluctance. The 4 other riders came flying. 2 rode towards Frodo. 2 galloped madly towards Frodo to cut off his escape. And Frodo could no longer see his friends. The rider behind were falling back. Even their great steeds were no match in speed for the white elf horse of Glorfindel.
Even though Frodo is not wearing the ring, he himself, because of his injury, he's halfway to being a wraith himself, and he can see them.
There's a different sort of sight that they have.
Yes.
Swords were naked in their pale hands. That's a funny way to say they were out of their sheath.
Mm-hmm.
Fear now filled all Frodo's mind. He thought no longer of his sword. No cry came from him. He shut his eyes and clung to the horse's mane. The wind whistled in his ears, and the bells upon the harness rang wild and shrill. The elf horse, speeding on as if on wings, passed right before the face of the foremost rider. So it seemed hopeless, but this horse is something else.
Yes.
And it just blows by him.
And its little bells are ringing as it goes by. It's like insult to injury.
Mm-hmm. He was across the ford, but the pursuers were close behind. There were 9 riders at the water's edge below, and Frodo's spirit quailed before the threats of their uplifting faces. He felt that urgency. He felt that he had to halt again. Hatred stirred in him, but he had no longer the strength to refuse. So So he does halt, and the foremost rider springs forward. With a great effort, Frodo sat upright and brandished his sword. So he found it. He found his strength again. Go back, he cried. Go back to the land of Mordor and follow me no more. His voice sounded thin and shrill in his own ears. The riders halted, but Frodo had not the power of Bombadil.
A
Aw,
reference to
unfortunately.
Tom.
Yeah, and they say, come back to Mordor. We will take you. And so, of course, they want the ring. Frodo says, by Ellenberth and Luthien the Fair, you shall have neither the ring nor me. He's stricken dumb. So when he's stricken dumb, is that the ring race?
That's the leader, the Witch King of Angmar raising his hand.
Mm-hmm. And Frodo is just obeying his command at this point because he's so
Yes, he felt his tongue cleave to his mouth and his heart laboring. His sword broke and fell out of his shaking hand. So that's magical power, real
yes.
power to break a sword at a distance like that.
Well, then some other magical power seems to come out of nowhere because at that moment there came a roaring and a rushing, a noise of loud waters rolling many stones. Dimly Frodo saw the river below him rise, and down along its course there came a plumed cavalry of waves. White flames seemed to Frodo to flicker on their crests, and he half fancied that he saw amid the water white riders upon white horses with frothing manes. The three riders that were still in the midst of the ford were overwhelmed. They disappeared, buried suddenly under angry foam. Those that were behind drew back in dismay. So the black horses go mad and they bear the riders into the flood.
Sure, I've got a great visual for you here too. It's really a beautiful picture. It's very painterly. The black horses were filled with madness, and leaping forward in terror, they bore their riders into the rushing flood. Their piercing cries were drowned in the roaring of the river as it carried them away. Then Frodo felt himself falling, and the roaring and confusion seemed to rise and engulf him together with his enemies. He heard and saw no more. I wanted to mention that in folk tales and fairy tales, supernatural beings cannot cross running water, and a lot of protagonists escape pursuit by crossing a river, stream, or brook. And this kind of feels like that. There's a lot of influence in Tolkien's writing from all of these really old and ancient references and stories and tales that he just weaves in there without really explaining it. I think you're kind of expected to know the background, but I don't know if people know fairy tales, as well as people did simply a generation ago.
I didn't catch on it.
A lot of Celtic tales. Where there's something evil chasing you that's definitely supernatural, and they can't cross running water. Kind of like in Sleepy Hollow, in Legend of Sleepy Hollow, where if you get across the bridge, you're safe.
Gotcha.
And then all of the blades breaking when in contact with evil through these last chapters. There's at least 3 of them, I feel like. And that's something, too, where steel is supposed to be, it's supposed to help you against evil. But when, in this case, once it defends you, it just sort of comes apart because the evil is that strong.
Even that little dagger before that chopped the Barrow White's hand, that was also destroyed from the evil of the white. And that's chapter 12. We made it through another 6 chapters. And that's the end of book 1. What do you think of these past 6 chapters?
There's so much going on compared to the first 6 chapters, so much more to happen. But after this, there's some walk and talk, which I personally love. I like it when people talk to each other in film and in literature and everything.
Me too.
Yes,
this is a great rest stop coming up.
Yes, I'm going to be happy for the rest, which is another one of these beautiful sort of stained glass. And it's a representation of the Ford of Bruinen and the Black Riders being swept away, largely under the hand of Elrond, although I feel like Gandalf should be represented in there because I feel like he had something to do with that too.
Gandalf the presence was here.
But I do think it's elf magic that raises the water to begin with.
Yes.
The waters raise themselves because they are enchanted to protect Rivendell.
Oh, and that would make sense.
But again, that's cheating because that's going ahead into the next chapter. But yeah, this is a beautiful pacing by Tolkien, action, and then a little party, and then some more action, and then another breather, and then some more action. So it's great storytelling.
Yeah, pretty much starts with the party with Bombadil and being saved by him in the Barrow Downs, and he rides them the rest of the way, and they get to party again at the Prancing Pony. But the party is a bit cut short because now they're afraid of the Black Riders who they know are around, and they have to be careful that night. And it was a good thing they did. And then they set off again. They lose their ponies, but love that the text says, "Don't worry, the ponies are fine. They went to Tom Bombadil because they're smart ponies." And then there's just so much terrain that they get across.
You really get a feel for Tolkien's love of wooden fields and maps. I think that's where some people bog down in the reading, and beautifully described. And at some point, I think if you do read through, you really start to learn the topography and the lay of the land. Not ever as well as Strider, but you do pick it up.
Definitely. And it's good stuff. And then the enemy finally makes a strike on Frodo the second time. This is the third time he puts on the ring.
I'm trying to remember what the first two are. One's in Bombadil's house.
And the other one is in the Prancing Pony.
Right.
He gets a wound. He needs to get to Rivendell now to heal that. We meet another friend who can help. And Glorfindel helps Frodo. Without Glorfindel and his horse, I don't believe Frodo would have been able to cross that ford. It seems, it ends in a cliffhanger. How does Frodo get out of this one? We'll have to see. And so I think that helps us end chapter 12 and that closes the book on book 1. So next time we will start book 2 of the Fellowship of the Ring.
Namarie.
Yes, we'll see you all next time. Thank you for listening. That's all for now, and we're going to continue our quest. Stay tuned.
This is the end. I'm going now. I bid you all a very fond farewell.